Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis contente de vous rencontrer encore une fois via vidéo. Euh, je propose de vous donner un vidéo plutôt court, mais c'est un vidéo qui contient des détails importants de la grammaire française. I will translate this. Look who's come to join us, my dog. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see you again. I'm proposing for you a shorter video than usual, but it's jam-packed full of grammar that it's going to take a while to learn, but it's really important grammar. It opens up a whole level of expression that you haven't had before, and it's the tense that's called le passé composé. And I decided to do this. And you can see it says introduction au passé composé, to the tense that's known as the passé composé, avec beaucoup de chiens, with lots of dogs, because dogs are cute, and grammar is less cute than dogs. So now we have this dog, and he says, mais, maître. Qu'est-ce que c'est que le passé composé? But master, what is passé composé? Le passé composé est la méthode pour exprimer un temps passé défini et d'habitude court. Let me explain this in English a little bit. Passé composé is the method for expressing a verb tense that has a defined and short period in the past. In other words, it's not the ongoing past, the way we would say in English, I used to be. It's not like that. It's more like when we say things like I have and the past participle. Donc, voici des exemples. In English, I would say, I have walked my dog 10,000 kilometers just to see you. Look how tired that dog looks. Actually, he looks pretty good. And instead it says, in French, it says, j'ai marché. Notice that j'ai is something you've already learned. I have. And then marcher looks a lot like the ER verb marcher, to walk. J'ai marché avec mon chien 10 000 kilomètres juste pour te voir. In English, I would say the children have finished their homework. And here I would say in French, les enfants ont fini leur devoir. Les enfants ont, you already know. The children have. It's literally the same as in English. Fini looks a lot like the verb finir, which you know how to conjugate in present tense. And so this is the past participle. Les enfants ont fini leur devoir. Have you sold your novel yet to a publisher? Avez-vous vendu votre roman à une maison de presse? Avez-vous, do you have, is what it's really saying, but have you, we might say, vendu. That looks a lot like vendre, the verb you know how to conjugate in the present tense. This is the past participle of to sell. Avez-vous vendu? Have you sold votre roman, your novel, à une maison de presse? Une maison de presse is a combination of words that we simply say as publisher. So that's how the passé composé works. You actually have the experience of this in English, and it's quite close to the English construction, you will see. Donc, notez. Here we see another dog sitting on top of some books, kind of cute. Dans tous les exemples que nous avons vus juste maintenant, in all the examples that we have just seen, nous voyons le verbe auxiliaire avoir et le participe passé. We see the auxiliary verb. That's what we call what avoir is doing. So here in all those three examples I just showed you, avoir is operating like to have. If I say, have you sold your novel? The verb that's really operating for meaning is sold. But have is the auxiliary verb that lets me express that I'm not asking you in the present or future tense. I'm asking you in a defined past tense. So, le verbe auxiliaire ici, c'est avoir. And then there is le participe passé. There is the past participle. Sold is the past participle of to sell. Finished is the past participle of to finish. I think you understand the concept here. So notice that that's everything that we have been doing, and you have seen this in English all the time. Et donc j'ai écrit, ceci ressemble à la grammaire anglaise. It resembles English grammar. Mais, il y a quelques verbes qui emploient le verbe être comme auxiliaire aussi. Pendant la leçon d'aujourd'hui, nous ne discutons pas ces verbes. There is a small class of occasions and verbs where you would use être instead of avoir as the auxiliary verb, to be instead of to have. That's not something we're going to discuss today. I'm telling you that it's going to be that way, but this is not the day to have that conversation. The good news is that it's not all the time that you have such exceptions, and they're reasonably finite. I just didn't want you to think that it's always avoir. But today we're just talking about the cases where it is avoir, and we're also just talking about regular verbs that have consistent past participles. We can talk about irregular verbs another time. So this slide, I am going to go over it very carefully with you, because if you can catch this, if you can make this your understanding of regular verbs, you are 80% finished learning the passé composé here. That's really amazing if you can do this. Most verbs follow this pattern. There are exceptions, but they are not infinite. So you know the ER verbs. That's the first group of regular verbs that we learned. Hang on, I'm going to take a sip of this. Le verbe parler. And you remember, je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. You remember that. I probably drilled you in it. And so what I do is I take the root of parler, which is the same part of the verb that never changed in the ER construction. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, P-A-R-L never changes. So, and then I add the E with the accent aigu. And notice that the thing that changes is not the past participle here, but the auxiliary verb's conjugation. So I would say here, if I want to say have spoken, which would be the past participle in English. J'ai parlé. Tu as parlé. Il a parlé. Nous avons parlé. Vous avez parlé. Ils ont parlé, ou bien elles ont parlé. And so notice what you see here. The parler doesn't change. The only thing that's changing is the conjugation of avoir to fit the person that you is speaking or that you're speaking about. This allows you to operate with this verb in a finite past tense, which allows you to be able to present information with more dimension. Here again, I'm going over this crazy slowly because again, I would be so excited if you learned this perfectly, because if you do, my goodness, you are ready for just anything in this tense. Really, you're 80% of the way there. There are a few irregular past participles. And let me give you an example. We just talked about parler. We say spoken. I have spoken, you have spoken, he has spoken. Spoken doesn't follow the regular pattern, which would be for to speak, speaked. I have speaked is not a thing in English. I have spoken is a thing. And there are a few, very finite verbs that have irregular past participles. When we come across them, we will learn them. Right now, I'm teaching you a system by which to generally communicate this kind of detail. And here we are now in the second column with regular IR verbs. And choisir, to choose, you can see that I am taking the root of choisir, the part that doesn't change. And I am leaving off S's and other suffixes, and I am simply making that the past participle with a regular IR verb. So I would say, j'ai choisi, tu as choisi, elle a choisi, nous avons choisi, vous avez choisi, ils ont choisi, elles ont choisi. Once more, the thing that changes is your conjugation of avoir to fit the person that is being referred to in the conjugation of the verb, but the past participle stays the same. And then we have in the third column verbs that end in RE, the third category of regular verbs. And so perdre means to lose. Here there is a little bit more change. I add a U. I add a U to the end of the root. So instead of saying j'ai perdu, I say j'ai perdu. J'ai perdu. I have lost. For instance, if I'm saying I've lost my glasses, j'ai perdu mes lunettes. Ah, mais voici mes lunettes. Je les ai trouvées. I found them. J'ai perdu. Tu as perdu. On a perdu. Nous avons perdu. Vous avez perdu. Ils ont perdu. Elles ont perdu. We are all operating on a regular basis. The thing that remains static is the past participle. The thing that changes is our conjugation of avoir. And I have just taught you, if you can memorize this pattern, where there are truly regular, there's some that appear regular and are not, but truly regular verbs in French. This is what there is to know in order to be able to begin to use le passé composé. I've just taught you a whole lot of grammar. I'm doing this in a crazy slow way because I want you to linger on this. You're probably going to want to rewind this and look at this again. But you really have these wonderful regularities. You know that all the ER verbs are going to end after the root with the E with the accent aigu. All the IR verbs end in I in the past participle, and all the RE verbs end in the letter U after the root. For all the regular ones. All the regular ones. That's amazing. You've just learned so much language. Donc, I've got my studious dog here in a necktie. When was the last time you wore a necktie? My dog has never worn a necktie. And then it's donc is like thus. Toutes les phrases ont, all the sentences have, un sujet plus le verbe avoir conjugué dans le temps présent. So I'm conjugating avoir in the present tense. I have a subject and I have the verb conjugated corresponding to the subject, plus le participe passé. It's really largely the same structure as in English, but I've just opened a door to a whole lot more language for you. And we're going to need to have a couple more small lessons about this for you to sort of know all of that which is in passé composé, but I thought for 1 week to absorb this much would be a triumph for linguistics and humanity in general, and possibly for dogs who wear neckties. Essayons maintenant quelques exemples. Let's try now some examples. Comment traduisez-vous ces phrases en français? How do you translate these sentences into French? Here are the sentences that I am giving you to consider translating. You're going to want to, after you've seen all the sentences and we've gone over them a little bit, you'll want to pause so that you can see this and write them down, because I am going to ask you to do this for homework. How would you say in French, I have met his mother? I'm going to have to think about the verb to meet. And I'm going to have to think of where it fits in the categories we've talked about, the 3 groupings of regular verbs. The ice cream has gotten colder, maybe again. Has gotten colder again in the freezer. How would I say become cold? How would I say that? Or maybe become cold again, which is used largely the same way. Have you lost your keys again, honey? Notice the fact that I'm calling someone honey probably means it's the informal you. It's probably not a formal you. I wouldn't say that to the Queen of England, honey. So how would I talk about losing keys in the passé composé tense in French? 4, we have eaten all the apples. Come to my house, I have a few apples. How would you say that? What is the regular verb that you need to find the past participle of in order to be able to do this? You have served your country. How would you say served, to serve in French? And how would you say this then? Lastly, they waited an hour. 6 sentences to practice on. I would suggest that you pause or rewind and take a minute to write. If you can do this, you have gone a long way to mastering the passé composé. La traduction de ces 6 phrases est votre devoir. Bonne chance. The translation of these sentences is your homework. Good luck. The dog in this picture is clearly saying, in dog, not French, good luck. And so am I. Let me know if you have questions and email me your translations. Thanks a lot. See you in class. Bye-bye.